Is it safe to travel with COVID and hantavirus going around? The Hanta seems pretty scary. Dude, am I crazy or isn't that just like something in a cruise ship? Like, isn't it literally trapped in a cruise ship currently because of mouse poop? No? It's in the USA now? One shot, see if you catch it? Yeah, I heard. Nope, a couple people left the cruise before it was caught and they were on flights. Incredible. Well, good thing we got RFK Jr. in charge. Fuck it, we ball.
Officials are racing to contain the deadly Hantavirus outbreak that has killed 3 people. Several states,
I can't believe that people still go on cruises. I will never understand it.
including Arizona, Georgia, and California, monitoring cruise ship passengers for possible infections. Teams in protective gear transporting 3 patients to emergency flights bound for Amsterdam. This as contact tracing has started on anyone who may have been exposed to sick patients earlier in the trip who disembarked at different locations. One such traveler was removed from a KLM flight in Johannesburg a day before her death. KLM saying due to the passenger's medical condition at the time, the crew decided not to allow the passenger to travel on the flight. 88 of those passengers from that flight now being tracked by the World Health Organization after possibly being exposed. And the WHO says a Swiss man who had returned home with his wife tested positive for hantavirus on Wednesday. He remains hospitalized. There are now 11 suspected cases of hantavirus infection from that ship, 5 testing positive in a lab. Hantavirus is a respiratory infection with no treatment and can kill up to 40% of those infected. The World Health Organization says testing so far identified the rare Andes strain, which can spread from person to person.
That is the species that has been identified on the cruise ship. And so that's why they're starting to worry more and more about the potential for person-to-person spread on the cruise ship.
Health officials now suspect the first victim to contract the virus picked it up in Argentina before getting on the ship. In mid-March, he'd visited a landfill during a bird-watching tour, and officials suspect he contracted it from rodents. The captain announces his death weeks ago, telling those on board the man was not infectious before anyone knew it was hantavirus.
This is my sad duty to inform you that one of our passengers sadly passed away last night. I'm told by the doctor we're not infectious. So the ship is safe when it comes to this.
But
dog, this is literally why cruise ships are terrifying to me. I just don't understand why people entertain it. Like, you're just stuck. You're just stuck on a floating trash barge that has a litany of diseases in it. It doesn't make any sense. You're scared of water? No, man. It's not that I'm scared of water. Like, sure. I'm afraid not of the water, but I'm afraid of the ocean. But like, I'll go out on the sea on a boat. I'm not afraid of boating. I'm not afraid of swimming. I'm afraid of taking unnecessary risks. And I feel like the cruise, what you get out of it is nowhere near worth the pain. The downsides are endless for incredibly limited upside, which is just a shittier version of going to an all-inclusive resort. It's objectively a shittier version. It's on the sea and you can like maybe get a day off at port. Austin Show boo bad take. Bitch, we're talking about a deadly virus. Aren't you supposed to be a hypochondriac? Fuck you mean boo bad take? What kind of hypochondriac are you, Austin? Wrong, worst take. I'm not going on this cruise. Oh, but you'll go on the next one. Okay. Good luck, man. You're saying all cruises are bad based on one cruise? No, I'm saying that even in the best possible scenario on a cruise, you're still trapped on a ship with a ton of people and a ton of disease. What about an airplane? I mean, in the airplane, you have a much more limited contact for a much shorter period of time. I think air travel is also dangerous in a similar vein. Don't get me wrong. When you're on a cruise, you're floating around with a far larger group of people for sometimes a week in a closed environment. I feel like there's an infinitely higher likelihood of contracting some kind of disease, not just hantavirus. I just mean like in general. The cruises I go on don't go to landfills usually. Oh my God. This is literally, you know what this is? Yeah, also, I'm not even making a comparison between air travel and cruises. Cruises are unbelievably unnecessary. Air travel is still necessary for not only delivery, but just travel in general. But this is straight up, this is literally Republican thinking, okay? This is Republican mentality. Well, the cruise I'll go doesn't go near a landfill. Are cruises BDS? I don't know. I'm just saying, I think cruises are gross and it's not worth it. Airplanes have good air filters and HVAC. Plus, on a cruise, tons of people eat close together, go in pools, limited hand washing, etc., etc. You're also in a closed environment with a ton more people for a much longer period of time.
That man likely spread it to his wife, who also died. Ruhi Chenet was a passenger on the ship and says the cruise continued as normal.
Since we were not informed of any contagious disease, everyone was relaxed.
Medical teams are monitoring the nearly 150 people still on board, including 17 Americans, as they make their way to the Canary Islands in Spain. The State Department telling ABC News the Trump administration has no higher priority than the safety and security of Americans, and they are ready to assist any affected Americans.
Oh, great. Also, that's the other side of the story. RFK Jr. is on the job, baby.
Health officials around the world are racing to contain a deadly outbreak of hantavirus that's linked to this cruise ship in the Atlantic. The Dutch airline KLM says one of the ship's passengers, who later died after contracting the virus, boarded a flight in South Africa before the plane's crew decided she was too sick to travel. The Georgia Department of Public Health says 2 people who returned home to the state after getting off the ship are being monitored right now, and 1 Arizona resident who was also on board is also being...
Bro, you know her ass wasn't wearing a mask either. Like, just sick and traveling, no mask whatsoever.
Watched by officials there. And according to the New York Times, California residents were on the ship as well. CNN's Randy Kay looks now at how this virus may have spread.
This was an expedition boat, and many of the people on board were doing bird watching.
Turns out a bird watching tour may be the source of this hantavirus outbreak. According to the Associated Press, 2 Argentine officials investigating how this started said their government is leaning toward the idea that a Dutch couple contracted the virus while bird watching in the city of Ushuaia, Argentina, before boarding the ship. The AP reports the couple visited a landfill during the tour and may have been exposed to infected rodents. That 70-year-old Dutch man was the first to die on the ship days after they left port in Argentina. His 69-year-old wife died about 2 weeks later. The rest of the people on board, including nearly 150 passengers, are now on a 3 to 4 day journey from Cape Verde to 10.
Bro, stop the cruise. What are we doing? What do you mean they're on a trip? They should stop and wait it out. You just drop ship. Like, what do you mean you just keep going on the cruise? What are we talking about? I feel like I'm not going to say sink the ship, right? But just, put it near a port somewhere, keep a watchful eye on the cruise, and, drop ship medical personnel every now and then with the necessary gear, and they just do the treatments on the ship. Or maybe port it up next to a goddamn medical ship and transfer some of the patients by necessity. What do you mean we got a floating petri dish in Cape Verde that's on his way to different hotspots? I feel like this is at that point is a bioweapon, Am I crazy? That is what they're doing at the port? Okay.
The reef in the Canary Islands. Spain has agreed to receive the ship there. Upon arrival, the plan is for all passengers to be taken to a nearby airport and sent back to their home countries.
No. What are you doing? No. No. Keep them away for now. What? Yes, you are. That's against WHO regulations. WHO is what I say to the World Health Organization. Am I crazy? Shouldn't people get properly vetted, properly treated before they just travel internationally all around the world with what I suspect is an unbelievably deadly disease? What the The genetic sequencing samples of the Hantavirus strain in the outbreak suggest that the virus is nearly identical to the version seen in Argentina and is not mutated in ways that would make it a greater threat. According to Tulio de Oliveira, director of the Center of Epidemic Response and Innovation at Stellenbosch University in South Africa. Bro, if we can blockade the Strait of Hormuz, we can blockade this one specific cruise ship, okay? Just cordon it out. Quarantine these motherfuckers. What are we doing?
The 14 Spanish citizens will be examined and go directly into quarantine at a Madrid hospital.
This is the country of Cape Verde in front of us, but it is forbidden to go down to it.
This travel vlogger on board posted on social media about the predicament they now find themselves in.
Today was supposed to be the last day of our 35-day trip on the Atlantic, but it is clear that our journey...
35 days, bro? 35 days? What are you, Christopher Columbus? What the fuck are you doing on a ship for 35 days? This is what I mean. People that do cruises we're entirely separate organisms. I feel like I have something in my brain that you guys don't, or vice versa, where you have something in your brain and I don't, where I hear the idea of being out in sea for 35 days with a bunch of random motherfuckers, and I think to myself, just kill me now. I don't want to contract a rare deadly disease and then go kill my loved ones in the process. The f*** do you mean you went on a cruise ship knowing that it was 35 days? Did you get duped into it? Did you think it was going to be 3 days, maybe 5, and it turns out it was 35? How does that happen?
It will not end here because Cape Verde refused to receive us on its coast.
Earlier today, this medical evacuation boat removed 3 sick people from the ship. On their way to the Netherlands, a source from Spain's health ministry told CNN that Morocco refused to let the plane carrying 2 of the evacuees land to refuel. Instead, it made an unscheduled landing at Gran Canaria Airport to do so.
People are usually infected through contact with infected rodents, or their urine, their droppings, or their saliva. Human-to-human transmission is uncommon.
Yet in this case, the World Health Organization believes the virus may have been transmitted person to person on board. And just today, following lab tests, confirmed this is the Andes strain of the virus, which has spread among close contacts before.
We're also working with authorities for anyone that has left the ship.
In fact, the Swiss Federal Office of Public Health has confirmed that a passenger who traveled on the first leg of the voyage and disembarked at St. Helena on April 24th has now tested positive for hantavirus. That passenger, according to the cruise company, is being treated at a hospital in Zurich. His wife, who was with him, has not shown symptoms but is self-isolating as a precaution. Randy Kay, CNN, New York.
And today, a German woman who may have been exposed to the virus on board that ship was picked up by a convoy of emergency vehicles after being flown to Amsterdam. Doctors say the woman is in stable condition but remains quarantined. For more on what life is like for the 150 people still on board the infected ship, I want to bring in CNN's Melissa Bell. Wow, I mean, personally, this would be my worst nightmare, to be on this ship, knowing what's going on with this virus that can incubate for up to 8 weeks, right, Melissa?
That's right, with all the confusion.
So this rat shit just cooks in you for 8 weeks? Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Holy moly, this shit sucks. Oh, what a nightmare. What the hell is this? Hantavirus? Origin of hantavirus, still unknown. Argentine Health Ministry. They released a picture of the passenger who disembarked and flew to California. It was really funny, man. Oh, we got a funny guy in here doing funny business.
And uncertainty that has gone on the ship itself. You know, we've now seen the video of the initial captain's announcement that was made the day after that first patient, the Dutchman, died, explaining that he died and that they believed that it was natural causes and so on. And it was only later, much later, that it was understood that this virus had been at play. The company...
It's bizarre. Hantavirus almost never jumps from human to human like this. Usually it's coming from into contact with rat feces or something. Cruise ship chef. Yeah, that's crazy. It must have mutated or something. Huh. Hasanabi? Okay, guys.
In April 2026, a group of people boarded a cruise ship in Argentina. 5 days later, one of the passengers started feeling ill, and 5 more days later, he wasn't alive anymore. No one knew what happened. When the ship arrives at St. Helena Island 13 days later, on April 24th, his body was examined at the hospital. His wife, who accompanied his body, wasn't feeling well. The next day, she took a flight from St. Helena Island to Johannesburg, South Africa. When she lands, she collapses at the airport and then passes away. The cruise company hadn't confirmed that these deaths were related to a medical situation on board that boat. But the same day, when the wife passes away, another passenger on the boat becomes ill. He's evacuated to South Africa and admitted into the intensive care unit. 5 days later, on May 2nd, another passenger on the ship has difficulty breathing before suddenly passing away. From the patient still alive in South Africa, doctors are able to confirm that he has hantavirus. World Health Organization is contacted, and they're able to identify 7 total cases of hantavirus on board the ship, and including the deceased. This is a family of viruses, and it usually gets passed from animal to human, inhaling airborne particles of infected rodent droppings. But there's multiple hantaviruses, and they're known to cause either cardiopulmonary collapse, where the heart and the lungs fail together, or they destroy the kidneys. The problem is there weren't any rodents on the ship. So where did this come from? There is one hantavirus known as the Andes virus.
Yosemite has hantavirus within its rodent population for years and gets 15 to 20 million visitors every year, and no one gets hantavirus. It's exceedingly rare for this type of spread. Once they're off the ship, not confined with infected people, the chance of it spreading drops dramatically. Most rodent populations have hantavirus. People are blowing this out of proportion. I feel like the fear is that this might be mutated, right?
Virus that's been known to transmit from human to human. It's the only known hantavirus to do this so far. And in 2018, there was a birthday party that became known as a spreader event for Andes virus that ended with 34 people getting infected and 11 deaths. And this birthday party happened in Argentina, where people boarded this cruise ship. As of the time that I'm posting this, they're still confirming if it is actually Andes virus. They're contact tracing the people who are on the flight with the wife who died after landing. The doctor on board the cruise ship who would be seeing passengers with symptoms is also sick, suggesting that this could be Andes virus because human-to-human contact. Now, on the flip side, it's not that hard to get sick sometimes on a cruise ship. This is the cardiopulmonary collapse version of the virus, so there's no known direct treatment other than to get a machine to oxygenate blood during the time that the lungs are shut down, which is usually just a couple days for this virus, so you have to identify it early. So those people who are on the ship now that folks are aware of this, you should be able to get treatment in time in case you have symptoms. This isn't new. This particular one doesn't happen that often. Last year, Betsy Arakawa, Gene Hackman's wife, passed away from a hantavirus found in New Mexico. And that's the state where we found hantavirus in the United States for the first time back in 1993. I wouldn't panic over this given the information that we have. Just make sure that you wash your hands often.
Just vibe out the virus. I got Hantavirus when I was watching some anime. Good one. Yeah, don't worry. MTG got us all covered. I assume it's ivermectin, right? She's saying, I actually texted her today and asked what can we treat hantavirus with. I'm so glad she posted it. Ivermectin. Also, vitamin D and zinc. Those of us who refuse to lock down, mask up, and get vaxxed took the good old horse pace and developed natural immunity. Who was the first motherfucker that said ivermectin, bro? We got to find that guy and study that person's brain. Somewhere along the line, someone was like, I got the perfect solution for this. It's called ivermectin. And now they're like, there is a new deadly virus going around. It has a 50% mortality rate. It is totally different than coronavirus. But just like with coronavirus, you guessed it, ivermectin solves all of your problems. How do we, like, where did I'm more interested in where the ivermectin cure originated from than even the COVID variant originated from, honestly. It's incredible how resilient this meta has been. It's incredible. People just straight up think ivermectin is a one-stop shop cure-all. It's an all-purpose cure. Yeah. Brace, CBD is also very effective at mitigating symptoms. Yeah. Oh, honey, let's make sure we visit the landfill. Why did they go to an Argentinian landfill, man? What the what is up with the land? I mean, whatever.
That runs the ship has put out a statement explaining that it wasn't known at the time. It took them some time to figure out that this was a virus and that everyone needed to quarantine. And of course, as we just heard, people then disembarked in St. Helena. There was another disembarkation in Ascension Island. 3 more people disembarked at Cape Verde because by then we knew the virus was going around and these were suspected or confirmed cases. For those still on board, what we understand is happening, Pamela, is that they're being quarantined in their own rooms. They're staying inside their cabins. Their food is being brought to them there. And all the precautions are being taken so that there are no further infections or transmissions of this Andes strain of hantavirus.
You never get the uncontrollable urge to see how other countries dispose of their trash? No. Bro, you've never gone bird watching near a landfill? No. Sometimes morbid curiosity makes you want to visit what can only be described as the worst place available in a fourth world country. I think that's a controllable urge. Okay, one case in Tel Aviv. They just want to be involved in everything. Okay. Oh, this was us too. Okay. Classic Israeli behavior. It's like, oh, this is actually a indigenous Israeli virus too. Yeah. First you got hummus, then you take falafel, couscous, everything, and now hantavirus too. Let the people have something. Oh, no, this was us too. We invented it. Yeah. Just like those little cherry tomatoes. We invented the hantavirus too. Hantavirus. Hantavirus. That's why. It's like Hamas, Hantavirus, Hamas. The Israeli hantavirus case is a different strain from the cruise ship. It's unrelated. Oh.
Now, at least they have a port in sight, and this had been unclear for some time, really until yesterday. We didn't know what port would accept taking in this ship and dealing then with what will be a very complicated operation to get these 147 passengers off, all the crew members off as well, to quarantine them and to successfully take them to where they need to go. You showed a moment ago that convoy in Germany. That is just one passenger suspected, confirmed, but still one passenger getting from the ship to Amsterdam and onwards to a hospital that can treat them. Imagine that multiplied by the number of people who are going to get off the ship. We've just been hearing, however, from the World Health Organization, and they say that beyond the 5 confirmed cases and the 3 people who sadly died, there has been no further identified transmission on board. So that is the good news. But again, this is a strain of the virus that has an incubation period of 8 weeks, which substantially complicates things for anyone who's been in contact with either people who've left or for those who are still on the ship or will be in contact with them when they get off, Pamela.
Off the coast of West Africa, a cruise ship under quarantine.
Yeah, that's the doctor.
3 more passengers medically evacuated, all tied to a deadly outbreak of hantavirus, a rare, typically rodent-borne disease with no specific treatment or cure. The open decks of the MV Hantavirus deserted, dining rooms empty, passengers told to stay in their cabins.
Hi, I'm Jake, and I'm spending the next 35 days crossing that.
Stop. Every time they say 35 days, I'm like, come on. Stop. Stop playing. Stop playing with me. Stop playing around, man. 35 days? 35 days? What the fuck is wrong with people, bro? I can't get over it. 35 days on a petri dish. 35 days? I thought since the invention of air travel, mankind has lost the need, unless they're transiting oil through the Strait of Hormuz, okay, in an oil tanker or in one of those like massive ships, to be out at sea like that. The only people that are resilient enough to be seafaring people are the Filipino people, okay? Pinoy gang, the Swagapinos. No one other than Swagapinos can withstand being out in the ocean for 35 days. And they got swag, which they have replaced the need of oxygen with.
Atlantic, visiting some of the most remote islands in the world.
This is how the journey began for Jake Rosemarine, a Boston photographer, one of around 150 people on board.
People with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home.
Health officials are now retracing the ship's route, trying to figure out where and when passengers became infected.
That's a devastating edit, by the way. They go from, oh, I can't wait for 35 days of fun and looking at the birds to that crying cut. That's crazy. CNN fucked him up with that one. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's a devastating edit by CNN. That's diabolical. Okay. Someone on the CNN production side was thinking in the same way that I'm thinking when they were just like 35 days. That's a lot.
Their 35-day expedition began from the edge of Antarctica, visiting some of the most remote islands in the South Atlantic.
On those islands, there are birds. Some islands have a lot of rodents, others don't.
Hantavirus is usually picked up by breathing in particles from rodent droppings or urine. Symptoms often start like the flu, but can quickly cause severe breathing problems, organ failure, and death. The incubation period, 1 to 8 weeks. Lab tests have yet to confirm it, but investigators think this may be a rare South American strain that sometimes spreads not just from rodents, but between people.
Among the really close contacts, the husband and wife, people who've shared cabins, etc.
This small boat medically evacuated a handful of infected passengers. Investigators say the outbreak began in early April. The first victim, a Dutch passenger, died on board April 11th. His wife died around 2 weeks later in a hospital in South Africa. A third passenger, a German national, died on board on May 2nd. A British passenger remains in intensive care. Everyone else stuck on board, undergoing medical checks. A situation Kent and Rebecca Frazier know all too well.
We don't know how long you had to stay in the hostel.
I met them back in 2020. They were quarantined on the Diamond Princess cruise ship off Japan.
What's the hardest part?
I'd say the unknown.
Rebecca, one of the first Americans to test positive for COVID.
There she is. She's standing in the window right now. Rebecca, here we are. Hi.
She spent weeks in a Tokyo hospital. Kent was quarantined in their...
He's just saying like he interviewed them back in 2020 because they have a similar experience. Bro, I thought literally that the same couple that was stuck on Diamond Princess is now stuck on a Hantavirus cruise ship. I thought they were like, well, let's roll the dice again. Okay, patient 0, it seems. No, they were? Wait, shut the fuck up. Wait, I'm sorry. No, that's unbelievable.
Infected Kent was quarantined in their cabin.
What would be your advice for passengers stuck on this ship right now?
If you start thinking about what's happening around you, it is so difficult to stay away from a mindset where you're getting depressed.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you, these guys weren't on the new ship, okay? They didn't get double dicked. They weren't patient 0 twice. They were patient 0 once, okay?
And just like really fearful what's going to happen. You have to try to stay as upbeat as you can.
They know how difficult staying upbeat can be. For everyone on the MV Hondius facing fear and uncertainty on a floating quarantine zone.
You as a doctor on the cruise, obsessed with the gay guy on the Hantavirus cruise, and tomorrow the sun will rise again? As I mentioned before, we are being well fed and taken care of. Dinner in the cabin, pumpkin risotto, and Coke Zero. Like, no offense, but there's Hantavirus in that risotto, diva. It's such a vibe. Oh my God. That's crazy. Check the passengers' TikTok comments.
I normally wouldn't make a video like this, but I feel like I need to say something, so I wrote a few things down. I am currently on board the MV Hondius.
What is this? I'm sorry, but listen, Jake, I feel bad for y'all, but you better stay on that darn boat. Keep your head up and feet on board. You are home, diva. That boat is your home. I know a guy. Oh my God, everyone is telling him that he needs to... What? I want to acknowledge that your fear and feeling are validated by so many, including the Little Antarctica group chat that's incredibly disappointed by the misinformation about the ship crew situation. Second, trips like these take so much saving and planning, and I empathize with the inexplicable juxtaposition you're experiencing going from such a wonder and joy to such scary uncertainty. Please know that there are people who are seeking / understand the facts, including how slow touchy the Wi-Fi is, and are sharing your human experience from factual, heartfelt place. Is wild you asking to dock, bro. Come on. You're telling me you can't wait a few weeks on board? Stay on that boat, bro, Chacho. I want to go home. This is your home. Oh my God. The fact that people don't have empathy for people on the ship is so crazy and disgusting. I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to be quarantined for 2 years again.
And what's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. There's a lot of uncertainty, and that's the hardest part. All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home. So if you're seeing coverage about this, just remember that there are real people behind it, and that this isn't something happening somewhere far away. It's happening to us right now. I'll share more when I can.
No refund, by the way. I mean, they saw the birds. At least they're not charging him extra to stay, a couple weeks extra, I'm sorry, did you see the birds? Well, guess what? No refunds. Wait, there are people behind the virus? What do you mean? There are people... these are the people behind the virus. They invented it. What does that even mean? I was joking.
But for now, I just ask for your kindness and understanding. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think we should be f***ing around with this stuff. Maybe I'm a little bit too careful. You need to pack it up. Sorry, for the rest of the world for a little bit, okay? Maybe we'll fly some birds near the cabin so you can look outside of your window, but just... Am I rude for this? I don't know. Quarantine, definitely. What are we doing? I'm sure there's birds wherever you guys are, There's definitely a lot of bird watching you can do from the deck. That's it. Take it all in. I feel bad, but also we can't be taking a risk,